So we got Big Jim and Phil from Electrodyne. They are doing the house rewire, and what they're currently doing is taking out the old fuse box, and we're gonna leave us with a double socket because we need some electrics. So that's going to be our electrics for the entire project. So, so yeah, Big Jim and Phil are dealing with this. Thank you very much. Okay, so our internal rip out is pretty much complete. We've just managed to get this radiator off, and we've got the cubby hole out. We've got all the skirting off and all of the coving. If you come into here, we managed to strip the kitchen back, which we're really pleased at. We've taken this radiator off as well. We've ripped out this cupboard and the door frame here. And then the garage, we've managed to get all of the wiring out, which is good. We've got a double socket put there for us kindly by our electricians. And we are just waiting for our skips to turn up, which they're going to turn up tomorrow. Plan of action for tomorrow. Darren, my plumber, is coming out. He's going to remove this boiler and get rid of all of this because there's going to be a new boiler put in. He's going to make safe this pipe, and then once that's made safe, we can think about getting this this roof off. So we've had a good day today, good day of demolition. We're really happy, and we are ready to go for the morning. So we have done some investigations, and initially we thought this entire wall was solid brick. It isn't. If you have a look up there, what you'll find sitting on that brick is thermalite block, and this entire wall here is thermalite block. We thought it was brick before we actually exposed the block. So that changes things regarding the support that we need to put up there. So the structural engineer is now going back to the drawing board to have a look at whether or not we can bin the steel and the column, and we can put a reinforced concrete lintel across instead, because thermalite block is so much lighter than standard brick or standard concrete block. The load imposed on it is not as great, which means steel might not be needed. So we are fingers crossed on that. If we do need to put a reinforced concrete lintel in, but what we are going to have to do is remedial works to this corner just to make sure that the bearing is actually supported quite well. So it might be, but what we need to do is we need to cut down here, we need to put a wall starter on and then build it up again using standard 7.2 Newton concrete block. But we will find out from the structural engineer tomorrow as to whether any changes are going to be made. Good morning, welcome back to our garage conversion and kitchen renovation. We're on day 2 today, and today we've got the plumbing being ripped out and the boiler being taken out, and we're going to do a little bit more of a demolition. So we're going to be taking some of the ceilings down as well, and then we'll be looking at getting the felt off the roof so we can start taking the roof down. Skip's turned up, so we've got all of our rubbish put into the skip now. We've got our garage nice and clear, which is brilliant. And today, we're going to be getting all of this out. So then we'll have a nice clear wall. Now, the customers had a conversation with Darren, my plumber, and it's been decided that the new boiler is going to go upstairs, either in the loft or in the airing cupboard. So that's really good because it just means that they will have more space in their utility room without having it boxed into one of the units. Matt is taking down the plasterboard as we speak for the ceiling. We're going to be taking plasterboard off this bulkhead. We're going to be taking this wall and this wall back to brick. This wall we don't need to worry about because that's coming out. We have spoken to the structural engineer and it has now been decided that we are going to put a concrete lintel, an R8 lintel, which means that it's got 2 reinforced steel bars running through it, so it makes it stronger than your average concrete lintel. So we're going to be putting a lintel which will sit directly underneath these joists and it will hold these joists up, and I will just need to rebuild this corner out of standard 7.2 concrete block as mentioned yesterday. That way our bearing has got adequate structural support. So we managed to get all of the pipes out now, so we're good to go with that. They've been capped off there under the roof space. We've got the boiler out. Thank you very much, Darren, from DJS Plumbing Solutions. I'll leave a link to his website and check a trade in the comments below. We've got the gas out as well, so everything has now been made safe. We are able to rip off this roof now. All pipes have been removed. Well, all these pipes are to be removed. They're being done as we speak. And Matt is starting to take this wall out now. We are acroed up, all ready to go. So hopefully this wall will be down in about an hour or so. So we have got our lintel in here covering this cubby hole, and what we found, but a less than 50mm bearing. Lovely. So we have found another little bit of good news upon exposing this little pier. So originally we thought that this cheek here, this cheek in the wall, was supporting something that was low bearing, for example a brick wall or a block wall. It isn't. What it's actually supporting is this middle joist, and then these two are attached to either end to act as a bearing or for something for plasterboard to nail onto. So good news for our customer is that we can take this whole thing out and we can completely avoid this dog leg in the wall or this cheek. So what we originally wanted when we first came to look at the job was for this to go and it to just flow through as one single wall with an opening. And because we thought that that was a brick wall, we planned for keeping this cheek in. But because it's not a brick wall, and because the lintel, if we move it straight across there, because the lintel will be supporting that joist there, we are actually fine to take the whole cheek out and leave it out. So end of day, we are happy with what's happened. We have managed to get the boiler out and all of the associated pipework stripped back. We've managed to get this wall out, and we've got our pillar in that our pad stone will sit on. So we're going to be putting one more block on here, and then the pad stone. The block will probably need to be a cut, which is why we've left this. So we'll measure all that up tomorrow, and that way we can make sure that our level is the same all the way through. That way our big old lintel there will sit nice and level under the joists. So we are going to be doing this area here tomorrow, so we'll take the window out, we will brick this section up, and we'll get our pad stone in, and hopefully we'll be able to get our lintel in as well. Isaac is back with us tomorrow. He's been on another job putting a staircase in for us, so he's going to be taking this roof off tomorrow, all the felt, all the timbers, all the joists, and then we need to be looking at replacing this soil stack with a new one, because that's a bit old and dated. And then hopefully we can start thinking about getting ready for putting our pads in for our steel, which is going to go into there. Good morning, back in Catshill. We are going to be ripping off our roof today, which Isaac is doing at the moment. We are going to be putting our concrete lintel above our archway. We need to sort the side wall out and get our pad stone in for that. And then we are going to be pretty much at a standstill because we're waiting for the steels to turn up. There's a slight delay with them, nothing much, just a couple of days, but it means that we're going to end up kind of stood around on this job for a few days. So we are going to go off and we're going to go and do something else for a few days. However, I will take you upstairs and you can have a look at what we're doing with the roof. So we have got all of our felt off. I've just taken the last of the fascia off, and then we have got all of this timber here to take off. We're going to stack this as opposed to throwing it in the skip, because there are plenty of uses for planks like these. And then we're going to be getting the joists off, and then we need to be thinking about looking at where our steel goes in. So I just turned off his heavy metal music. He's a heavy metal fan, and he feels that heavy metal is not appropriate for our videos. No, so he's just turned it off. Yeah. So what we're going to have to do is, I want the steel, or I want the ceilings all to run at the same level and flush, which means that we are going to have to put our steel in here, and then I'm going to run my joists and sit my joists, my tails of my joists, into the web of the steel. That basically will allow us to have a flush ceiling all the way through the entire conversion. So I will take you downstairs and you can have a look at what Matt has done so far. See you later.
See ya. Music goes back on.
What?
Music goes back
Music
on.
goes. So Matt has taken all of this off. He's just having a sweep up now. So what we need to do is we need to acro prop this up here above this lintel, take this lintel out, and then I need to rebuild this section up here, putting a pad stone in. That way we can run our beam across, and then that will be nice and secure. We've got a cut block to put in there, and then the pad stone to go on top, and then we've got the beam which will sit on that side as well. So we'll set up some time lapses and you can watch us work. We've got our garage roof off now, and we've got this back section down with the door and the window out. We've now got the mundane task of taking all of these bricks and chipping them off so we can reuse them in building this back section here, and then raising the eaves by a couple of courses. Okay, so one problem that we commonly come to when we are bricking in doors, bricking in windows, anything like that, is that because of the door size, what happens is you end up with what's called a broken bond. So this is stretcher bond, length, 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 and what happens is you have the joints staggered like that, and that is what provides the wall with strength. So in a perfect world, the door would have been measured to the sizes of the bricks, but in this case it looks like the bricks were built, or the structure of the garage was built around the size of the door and the window on this back bit. So if we were to continue our bond, one brick goes there with a 10mm joint, one brick goes there with the 10mm joint. It's going to have to be 10 to 15 because these joints are quite big. So we put that joint there, we put this joint here, and what are we left with? Not just a big old massive joint, but we're also left with a half brick here. And in a perfect world, we would take this half brick out, take that, and that out, and we would tooth this in. But we can't do that, because if we do that, we are left with a half brick, and that half brick would have to be lost somewhere in the wall. So we can't take all this back, because then we end up having to rebuild this corner here, and time doesn't really allow for that. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to put a wall starter up here, and we are just going to have a joint there. Now if we do that, we can make it a lot neater than if we try and stretch out our joints, or if we try to tooth out and lose a half brick somewhere inside this section here. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a wall starter on here, and then we're just going to have to build across. There's nothing really much that we can do about that. So we need to take this big old concrete lintel out here, and it's far too heavy to put it on shoulders. That thing's going to weigh well over 100 kilograms. So this is what we're going to do. We have acro propped this up. This is nice and firm. I'm going to knock that brick and that brick out, so essentially it's floating. We're then going to lower the acros, so this lintel will then sit onto these surfaces here. We'll then move the lintel out and lower it down so it's flat up against here, and then we can lower it down till we get to shoulder height, and then the three of us should be able to get that out. Wish us luck, guys. We have got it out. That was hard work, but bit of man work every now and again in the building industry is fine. So we have now got our opening, which means that we can now build up our cheeks to our window, and we can also put our pad stone in as well. So it's taken about 2.5 hours to get that out, so there's going to be no bricklaying today. So what we'll do is we'll come back tomorrow after we've had a real good clean up, and we'll do that bit then. Good morning, welcome back to our conversion and renovation in Catshill, Bromsgrove. Today we are going to be putting some lintels in, and we're going to be preparing the wall ready for the steels which are going to go into the building, and they are coming tomorrow. So I will flip around and show you what we're going to be getting on with today. So this wall here is going to be housing a pad stone and a lintel which will go all the way across here, and it will support these joists. We've done our markings out, so we have got the line there, which is where our centre of our wall is, which means our pad stone will need to sit across there. And then this mark here is where our floor to ceiling window is going to go as part of this kitchen renovation. I will take you outside and we can have a look at the outside. So we made a start. What we've got to do is we've got to put some more acros, one in there, and we've got to put one in there so we can support the corner of this building. And then we're going to be taking all of the brickwork out over to about here, because we have got the steel going into there. It is a big old steel, weighs quite a lot. It's got a 10mm bearing plate on top of it, so it can span the width of the cavity wall. And then what we're going to try and do today, if we get time, because taking this lot out is going to be intricate work, we don't want the building falling down, so we've got to make sure that we are acroed up in the right places to support the structure. And then we've got to take the bricks out carefully. Some of them we'll reuse, and we've got to get all of our measurements and our heights absolutely perfect, because we want to try and get this ceiling to flow through all the way, which means putting these joists, or the feet of these joists, into the web of the steel, which I don't think is going to be easy, because what we want to try and avoid is taking out the blocks above. So yeah, we'll have to try and figure that out once we've got this kind of section out here, and then we can have a proper look at it and see what the best course of action is. That was heavy. So we've got one beam there, and we've got the T or cross section there. So we've got our steels now. We just need to prepare our walls, get them in place. The first beam is up. That was heavy, and it's a bit awkward as well, but we've got it up. So all we're going to do is we're going to put a block in there. We're going to get up here blocked in. We're going to get some blocks over the top of the lintel, and that way we can make a start on building up out here as well. We can get our lintel over the top, and we can then start thinking about taking this corner out. The Thermalite block inner leaf wall is out. Grand job, lads. We are getting there. We've only got this brick section now to take out, which we're going to do over the next couple of hours, and then we can get our block wall in and up so we can put our cross steel on, ready for our main steel to go in. Keep up the good work.
Good morning everybody, and welcome back to our garage conversion / kitchen renovation in Catshill. I am on my own for a couple of hours this morning, but that's fine because I've got plenty to be getting on with. So I'll flip the camera around and I'll show you what my tasks for the morning are. Right, so my first task is I need to tooth out this pillar, as this bit is going to be getting bricked up. So toothing out means I will be taking out all of the half bricks that are still in the wall, and then that way when Stu builds the new wall he can just continue it in and it will be totally seamless. I was hoping to be able to use an awl saw today, which is a sort of reciprocating brick saw, but unfortunately none of our tool hire places had any in at the moment, and it would have been 2 hours worth of driving to get one. So sadly I'm having to do it old school. I've got a mortar rake on my angle grinder, I've got a 12mm drill bit on my SDS drill so that I can grind and drill out all of these joints, and that way we can get the bricks out nice and evenly, nice and neatly, without damaging any of the surrounding bricks, because any damaged bricks would need taking out and replacing, so that's just making more work for ourselves. I've also got to put some wall ties up for when we build our block wall, and then I need to stud this doorway up, so I need to put a timber frame into it, which won't take long but still needs doing. So I've got plenty to be getting on with, and then once Matt and Stu get here we can crack on with the rest of the job. So I'll set some time lapses up and you can see how I get all this done.
And there we have it. Our wall is out. The house is still standing, which is always a good thing. But it now means that we can get our... What are you laughing at what I just said?
A little bit, yeah. I don't think we should be surprised the house is standing.
We do this all the time. So... yeah, so we are going to be building this back section up. There's going to be a window there, and then there's going to be the wall starting there, and it's going to continue over there, and then our cross steel is going to go across over the window, and then our main steel is going to go into there. So we are going to have a good tidy up. The lads are chipping off all the bricks because we're going to be reusing them, and we'll have a real good tidy up. And then hopefully we might be able to get a little bit of block laying done today, and then tomorrow we'll get the block work up to steel height, and the same with the brickwork.